All right, so this is our Algebra 2 um, review, part 1. Okay, so we're just gonna see which questions we end up answering here. Whatever we end up answering, I'm going to write on the board. That way, whenever I cover questions with the other Algebra 2 class, we don't end up covering the same questions. Does that make sense? So if you want to cover just everything top to bottom, that might be simpler. When we say find the zeros of x squared minus 29x plus 100, what's the first step that we have to do? Factor it. Hopefully, yes, it will let me write on it. Okay, notice that the lead coefficient, does anybody know what I mean by the lead coefficient? The number in front of what? X squared, right? Right. So you'll hear that phrase used more when you get pushed over to Algebra 3. It'll say, what are the x values when the lead coefficient is 1, that type of thing. All right, so the lead coefficient here is 1, so it's just x squared, which means the front two terms in either set of my parentheses is just what? X. X and x. Now it's it's minus plus. That's important, which means my inner two operations are what? Both negative, right? Because that's the only way to get, you have two options for getting a plus in the second, which is to either have minus minus or plus plus. The moment that I see that it's minus plus, it has to be minus minus, right? Do we gather that? Am I going past anybody on that? Okay. So at this point, what we're looking for is we're looking for two numbers that are going to multiply to be 100, all right, but they're going to add up to 29. 25. Okay, and we can just say 25 and 4 because we've already set up the negative values there. But yes, it's negative 25 and negative 4. Now, because it's asking for the zeros, what do I do with those sets of parentheses? Set them to 0. Emma, tell me what he means.
So you put for each parentheses, you put that to 0. So in this case, it would be x minus 25 equals 0.
Okay, x minus 25 equals 0, and x minus 4 equals 0. And what do you mean by solve? Solve for what? Solve for x. How do I solve for x and x minus 25 equals 0? Add 25. Isolate the variable, right? So x equals 25. Do the same thing over here.
Yes.
Add 4 and add 4. So I get x equals 4 and x equals 25. Okay? Does this make sense so far? Not too difficult. Okay, but there is some thinking that goes into it. Does anybody need that left up for a second? Okay. Keep in mind, all this is being recorded, so if we need to, we can always go back and watch the videos, catch it there, right? Okay. All right, number 2. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the line perpendicular to y equals negative 5x minus 4 that's going to pass through the point 8, negative 4. Okay. So when it says slope-intercept form, what is that? Y equals mx plus b. Okay, that's my slope-intercept form. Just to kind of run through some things, but I don't want to keep hearing from the same person. So what does m stand for? Slope. What is slope? Rise over run. Okay. What is the relationship of the slopes of perpendicular lines? Somebody from this table back here. The slopes are opposite reciprocals. So what am I looking for in the equation that they've listed? What do I want to make special note of? What is the slope in that equation? Somebody from this table right here. What's the slope in the equation in number 2? Not 5. Negative 5, right? It's negative 5. All right, somebody from this table. What is the opposite reciprocal slope to that slope? Positive 1/5. Okay, it's not enough to just do the opposite. You also then have to find the reciprocal. So the first thing that I want to use to start forming this is the opposite reciprocal slope to negative 5, which is positive 1/5. So we're going to take that and hold on to it because they use the word perpendicular. Had they said parallel, what would I use? The same slope. I would use what then? -5. Okay. Now, they've given me some other information to use. That's 8 and -4. How do I use those two bits of information to find this new formula? Let's see. Blayton. That is exactly right. That's perfect. Now, tell me where to put these things in. Okay, so the double negatives make it a positive. Okay. Okay, 1/5 for M. Okay. All right, great. All right, now I'll come back over here. I'm going to try to get around the room, right, so I'm not always hearing from the same people. Okay, so here, what's the very first thing that I do? Distribute 1/5. Just to the x, though, right? Oh, and to the -8. So I'm going to go ahead, oh, wrong thing there. Okay, so I got y plus 4 equals what? 1/5 x minus 8/5. Okay, so we distribute it there and there. Okay, what's next? Let's come back here to my Colon-Calejo table. Subtract 4 from -8/5. Subtract 4. Now, just because I think we need as much practice as we can working with fractions rather than using calculators, if I want to subtract with a fraction involved, what do I have to have? Same denominator. The same denominator here would be 5. What do I have in order of getting -4 as a number over 5? Multiply it by 5. Okay, what's -4 times 5? Which I've already subtracted, right? Okay, so what I have is y equals 1/5 x. What looks to me like -28/5. Okay, you can change your y-intercept to be a mixed number. That would be what, -5 3/5. Okay, depending upon what they're looking for, but I'm going to guess that this is what we're looking for here. Do they have it listed as a decimal? As a fraction, was it -28/5? Okay, so we've seen questions like this before on tests, and the part that we kind of do all right with gets us kind of here. We get that slope in there, and then we kind of just guess and grab the y-intercept. Right? We've seen that with that one question where I think the y-intercept was like 37/4, right? And then there was another one that had the exact same slope, but with the y-intercept of 4/37, right? And a lot of us didn't show work to get that 37/4, and therefore did not get credit. So what I want you to be careful and be aware of is that this step is just as important, okay? Knowing how to get the y-intercept is just as important as getting the slope. Are we clear? All right, if we can't get the y-intercept, then we haven't actually solved it, okay? All right. All right, number 3. We've got two fractions. We're trying to subtract them. What do I have to have in order to subtract fractions? Let's come back to my back table. Same denominator. All right? So one has a denominator of x plus 3. The other one has a denominator of x squared minus 9. Can I do anything with either of those denominators? Factor out x squared minus 9. All right. What do you notice about it? What kind of factor is it? Some difference. Tell me about that. I'm getting x and x. All right, so it has to be two things that are the same but opposites, right? In order for that middle term to cancel out, showing us that there's no x, regular x value. So we have 2x squared minus 42 over x minus 3 times x plus 3 minus x plus 7 over x plus 3. Now, what do I need to multiply the right-hand side by to get that common denominator? Let's come across the way over here. How can I get a common denominator if one denominator is x minus 3 times x plus 3 and the other one is just x plus 3? Multiply by x minus 3 on the other side. Great. So we're going to multiply this by x minus 3. Is that the only place I do that, though? Where else do I do that? Top, because I don't want to actually change the value of the fraction, right? If I only multiply by the denominator, I'm getting a brand new fraction with a brand new value. I don't want a new value. I want it to look different so that I can work with it, okay? All right, so this is kind of messy. Let's go ahead and rewrite some of this. We've got 2x squared minus 42 over x minus 3 times x plus 3, and it's a common denominator. Okay, so I can leave that down here. Should I do anything with this numerator up here? Foil it, okay? So let's see, I was back here. Let's come up to my Kyla, Kylie, Pickering group, okay? Help me with the FOIL. What is x times x? X squared. Okay, good. What's next? X times what? X times negative 3 is? Negative 3x. Okay, what's next? 7x. 7 times x is 7x, and 7, negative 21. Okay, anything else before I move that down? Combine like terms. What are my like terms? 7x and negative 3x, which makes, okay, positive 4x minus 21. So here's the thing to be careful with. We're subtracting all of this, right? Okay, which means I need to do what before I'm satisfied? And I hear several people say it. Can I hear it from this table? What do I do with that negative? Distribute it, okay? So that means, and we're going to play some, well, so we're going to distribute that negative here, here, and here. So this becomes positive, that becomes negative, that becomes negative, okay? So what is 2x squared? And it's not like this is a double negative. That's just truly a negative. What is 2x squared minus x squared? Let's come back over here. X squared. Okay. And we have negative 42 plus 21. Is this negative 4x? Is that left all alone? Okay, so it's just minus 4x. So now we have negative 42 plus 21. Minus 21, right? Because negative 42 plus 21 is still negative 21. Okay, all that's still over x minus 3, x plus 3. Have I lost anybody up to this point? We're all still good. We're just taking everything one step at a time. What do we think we should do with the numerator here? Go ahead. Foil it out. Not foil it out. Factor it, right? Because we want to see if anything in the numerator and denominator is the same, so they can cancel. Okay, x and x squared is going to make what and what? X and x. Minus minus means plus and minus. Okay, just in case, so I'm going to put them kind of over like that. All right, things that multiply to be 21 but have a difference of 4. 7 would be the plus. 7 would be the negative, right? Because it's a negative 4. So you want the greater absolute value to go to the negative. Okay, and in 3 over here, what cancels out? X plus 3, so my final answer is x minus 7 over x minus 3. Is that a lot of work? Are any of the steps too difficult for you to do? None of the individual steps are. It's just taking everything one step at a time. Go ahead.
So you know how you have x squared minus 4x minus 3. You're just bringing everything down besides the 2x minus 4x.
So are we looking up here?
No.
There? Okay. So what we've done here is just combining like terms. Okay. He's talking about this line right here. Okay. So 2x squared minus x squared is 1x squared. Okay. There's nothing else with that negative 4x, so it just comes out as negative 4x, and we have negative 42 plus 21. And if I'd had the space, I probably could have written that a little bit better. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, any other questions on that? None? Okay. All right, number 4. It says use polynomial long division. It's pretty, can be a real struggle. Okay? Okay. Let's start off over here. We got 12x to the 4th minus 18x cubed plus 36x squared. And what? Do we need to keep going? You don't think so? Plus 0x plus 0, just to be safe, right? It's always better to have it. Okay, what am I dividing this by? 6x cubed. Okay, let's go back to my back table to my left. 6x cubed into 12x to the 4th. What do I have to do there? I want to get 6x cubed into 12x to the 4th. How do I get 2x to the what? To the 1st. So it's just 2x. Good. Because 2x times 6x cubed should be the same as 12x to the 4th. Does anybody have any problems with that? Okay. All right. So we're going to subtract. And that's going to cancel, and we're going to bring down negative 18x cubed. Okay, let's come over here. Negative 3, and then multiply it back. What do I get? Negative 18x cubed, and it should all cancel. So I'm going to bring down 36x squared. Okay. So our big problem here is that we have an x cubed that we're trying to fit into an x squared. How can I make x cubed equal to x squared? Multiply it by x to the what? Negative 1. Now, x to the negative 1 is equal to what? 1 over x. Okay, so how do I get 6 to be equal to 36? Multiply it by, multiply it by 6. So I would add 6 and set that over x. Because 6 times 6 is 36, but I have to multiply x cubed by something that's equal to x to the negative 1st. Does this make sense? Okay, and at that point, that's equal to 36x squared. Cancels out. We don't really need the others. Okay? But we had them if there was some reason that we needed them. We want to be in a good habit because if they had left out a number for x cubed, we would have had to have put a 0 in to hold that place. Okay? So make sure that you have all your placeholders that you need. Okay? What goes in if there's nothing there? 0. Questions on that? Did I get the answer right? Okay. All right. Number 5, write an inequality to represent the graph. What equation form do we want to use here? Pickering and Kylie, what equation form do we use? Well, you're on the right track. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be y. Could be greater than, could be less than, could be equal to, maybe not equal to. Okay, but what's on the other side? I heard somebody whispering it. What? mx plus b. Okay? mx plus b. Because we're just talking about the format, not looking for the actual numbers yet. Okay? When we go to set up a slope-intercept form of the equation, what's the easiest first thing to find? The y-intercept. What is the y-intercept? 4. So we got a positive 4 here. Okay? Once I know that, what should I look for? Ahmet? The slope. Is it positive or negative? Negative. Okay? Go down 2 over 1 because there's a nice point there. So if I'm just counting, right, what's the slope? Negative 2x. Okay? Now, what kind of line is that? Solid. What does that mean? It's going to be an equal to. So we have this much that we know. Y is going to be equal to negative 2x plus 4. We just have to find out, is this less than or is it greater than this line? You think so? All right, how can we test?
You can find two slopes in
Find a coordinate in the shaded region. What's the easiest coordinate when it's included in the shaded region? 0, 0. So our question would be, is 0 less than 4? Do you guys know why I said it that way? Okay, because what's negative 2 times 0? 0. So if I use 0, 0, I'm only ever comparing 0 to the y-intercept. So if 0 is less than 4, and that's true, then I can put it in like that. Y is less than or equal to negative 2x plus 4. Okay? We doing all right? Okay. All right. I think that's that for that page. Let's see. Yes. What's supposed to go at 10? Oh, okay. Well, do what you got to do. We're going to go on without you. Okay. Simplify the expression. Right? We've got radicals in the denominator. Are we allowed to have radicals in the denominator? No. How do I rationalize this denominator? Multiply by the conjugate. That is exactly right. Okay? In this case, when we say we multiply by the conjugate, what's the only thing that changes? It goes to the opposite operation. All right? So I'm multiplying by... Okay, just there, right? Move on. Oh, in the top. Because that would be equal to 1. Okay? So, what do I get in the numerator whenever I distribute the 6? 6 radical 6 plus 6 radical 5. So we're distributing here and here. Okay? What do I get for the basement, for the denominator? 6 minus 5, because It's a sum difference, right? It's the same thing. The only thing that's different is the operations in between. Radical 6 times radical 6 is what? 6, and negative radical 5 times positive radical 5 is negative 5, okay, which gives me a denominator value of 1, which means my answer is my numerator. Okay, because it cannot be simplified any further. It's like saying 6 apples plus 6 oranges divided by 1. I have 6 apples plus 6 oranges. Does that make sense? Do I still need to show the work for the denominator, even if I think it's going to come out to 1 from the beginning? Yes, because it doesn't always turn out that way. Okay. Harry and Selma start driving from the same location. Harry drives 30 miles north. Selma drives 72 miles east. Selma's really trying to get away from Harry. How far apart are Harry and Selma when they stop? Can anybody tell me what equation we would use to solve this? A squared plus B squared equals C squared. That's right, because what have we formed with their traveling? A right triangle. Somebody headed north, somebody headed east, right? We want to know their distance, and it's that line right there. Okay, so we have 30 and 72. So our equation is 30 squared plus 72 squared equals C squared, because C represents the hypotenuse. Okay, and that's what we want to find. So 30 squared is 900. 72 squared is more. Say that again. 5,184 equals C squared. What do I do now? Add them up. Okay, 900 and 5,184. Give me a second here. I gotta pause this so I can. All right. Let's see. So 900 plus 5,184 should be like 14,184. Is that right? No. 6,000. Oh, 6,000. Oh, yeah. 6,000. Sorry, I can't. 6,084. 6,084 equals C squared. Last step. Square root it, right? We don't, see, that's the wrong one. I'll leave it alone. Okay. What is the square root of 6,084? 78. Even? Just period? Awesome. So 78. Yeah. Okay. 78 miles. Okay. 78 miles. Anybody have any problem with that? Okay. You can find it a different way. You're just referring to it. I mean, that's if you know it's a Pythagorean triple to start with. I mean, if you can identify the Pythagorean triple, but it doesn't, I mean, the reason I did it that way instead of assuming it's a Pythagorean triple is because you could do a lot of work, find out that it's not. The answer might actually be a decimal, right? Or a simplified radical. Okay. All right, we've seen this question before in the last few tests, right? We should be pretty familiar with this. 8 flower pots, so we're going to draw 8 lines, and we're going to put 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 across the bottom, right? Okay. Do we need to work it out? Nobody? Yes? Okay, yes. All right. So 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's just representing the number of flower pots we have. The top number is how many types? Going 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And there's probably, I think there's a different way of doing it, but this to me is, if this is what we can do to get it right, let's just do it this way, right? And so then we multiply those fractions. Okay. Okay, are we good there? All right, don't even need to do the rest. So, yeah, multiply your numerators, multiply your denominators, and then divide in the end. Or you could just multiply all the individual fractions, which would take a lot more time. All right, number 9. Yes, I know I've kind of just been going through these anyway, but yes. Okay. All right, so let's make a coordinate plane. This first one has a y-intercept of 2, so let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's not great. You'd be better off to use graph paper. You might wind up with some inaccuracies. The first thing I'm going to do is going to plot 2 for the y-intercept on this first one. Then I'm going to go down 3. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2, 3 over 1. It's not great. 1, 2, 3 back 1. Okay. It is a dotted line because it's not equal to. Okay. And it's less than. So I'm going to ask myself the question, is 0 less than 2? It is. So therefore 0, 0 is in the solution. So I can go this way with it. Does that make sense? Okay. Now I want to look at the next one. It says the y-intercept is -1. I'm going to go up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 over 1. 1, 2, 3, 4 back 1. And it's equal to. So I should get a solid line through there. Okay. And my question is 0 greater than -1? Yes. 0 is greater than -1. Think on a number line, okay? Which means it's included, which means I'm shading this way, which means my darkest shaded region is here, and I have a lighter shaded region here, and a lighter shaded region here. Does that make sense?
Do you want us to do the shade part when we take our test, or is it okay if we just show the arrow?
No, because this is a darker shaded region because it's an overlap of 2 shaded regions. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. 10. How many questions were on this review? Was it 20? 20. So if I covered 10, we're in pretty good shape, and we'll probably get past that because we're out at, what, 10:31? Okay. This one is really pretty much the same thing, right? We should get, what, 4 radical 11 plus 4 radical 10? Do we need to work out number 10? Anybody need to see 10? Okay. All right. Let me reduce this. Let's see if it will. Okay. Take that back up. All right. 11. 11, I will accept a range of values for something like 11. A scatter plot shows the relationship between the sales and the number of rug designs a rug store has. Based upon that relationship, predict what the total sales will be when the store has 11 different rugs. Now, this is what I would say that you should look for if you want to get a really accurate answer, is you look at this point and this point. Why do you think I looked at those 2 points? Because they're actually on coordinates, right? Oh, yeah, 100. Okay, so not 11, but there we go. All right, fixed it. Okay. Let's see. So we want to look at approximately what there's going to be at this line right there. And I would say an acceptable range is from here to probably in there. Okay. Is that dot should fall somewhere within that range value. Okay, because even though we could get a general slope out of that, see how it's going to fall. You know, there is some rise and there is some fall between these things. So that's what I would look for. Does that make sense? So it should be somewhere between, say, like 32,000 and 38,000. Okay? So I hate to give you a question on a test that's really kind of a guesstimation, but that's what we're looking for. Okay? So that's what we call a line of best fit. I might make it a written question, you know. All right. Number 12. A camera is mounted at a point 5,000 feet from the base of a rock. I feel like I've gone over all of these questions before. Have we not talked about, did we review any of this? Bits and pieces of it. We didn't go over all of it. Okay. So we've kind of already reviewed. All right. Have we gone over this? I feel like we did this question. Is it in a video? Did we make it? We didn't make a video for it. All right. Well, let's, for the sake of it, let's make a video. I mean, let's add it to the video. Okay. So we got our little camera tripod here. Okay. We've got our rocket, you know, because I was like, I remember drawing all of this stuff. You know, there's the rocket going off. Okay. We want to know, let's see, what is the height of the rocket? So, you know, we have a right triangle here. We know that this is 44 degrees. Granted, if this was further away, it would appear more like that camera's right on the ground. Okay, and we know that we're 5,000 feet from the rocket. So our number here is going to be in feet. Okay, what is x in relation to 44? It's opposite. Okay, what is 5,000 in relation to our 44 degree? Adjacent. Okay, and our hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. Doesn't matter what angle you're using. All right. Which trig function uses adjacent and opposite? Tangent, TOA, right? So, ka, TOA. So it's the only one that uses O and A. So we're going to say tangent. Sorry, and if I've ever got my back to you, just consistently let me know. So what comes after tangent? The degree. Okay. Equals, and it equals my ratio. My ratio is opposite over adjacent. What is my opposite? What is my adjacent? Okay. So if I want to solve for x, what do I have to do? Get x by itself, and the way to get x by itself is to multiply by 5,000 on both sides. Okay. So what are we going to check in our calculator before I go typing things in? I need to make sure that it's in degree mode. So check the mode, make sure degree is highlighted. Then you're going to type in 5,000 tan 44 and close up the parentheses and hit enter. Tell me what you get. 4,828. Round your answer to the nearest foot, and you said 4,000.4, so it's just rounds off. It's just 4,828 feet, right? Okay, are we good there? Okay. This graphing question, this is just a matter of just plugging it in your graphing calculator, right? Do we know how to do this? Do we need to see it? No. Okay. Simplify. Okay, we have a fraction minus a fraction divided by a fraction plus a fraction. Okay, order of operations tells me that the numerator is a grouping symbol and the denominator is a grouping symbol. So we have to finish a grouping symbol, okay, finish each of the grouping symbols before I can divide. Okay, so that would be 5/7 minus what? Is it, I wouldn't be just minusing 1. What's equivalent to 1 but has a denominator of 7? 7 over 7. So what's 5/7 minus 7/7? What's 5 minus 7? Negative 2/7. Okay. Now I have 3/8 plus 2/3. What's the common denominator between 8 and 3? 12. How do I get 8? 24. 24. So that would be what? 9/24 plus 16/24 because you're multiplying by 8. Okay, what's 9/24 plus 16/24? That's probably what, 25/24? 25/24. Okay? Can I divide by a fraction? Can multiply by the reciprocal, which means the denominator multiplies by the numerator multiplies by the denominator. What's negative 2 times 24? You guys are so good. All right, and what's 7 times 25? 175. Will that reduce? Doesn't really look like it. I would say that that's probably your answer right there. Okay? Questions, comments, concerns? All right, that's probably a pretty good place to stop right there. Let's see, what question number? We finished with 14. Okay, so I'm going to make myself a note. Number 15, pick up.